This time last year, I had exactly $127 to my name. I was stuck in a dead-end job I hated, drowning in anxiety, and I had absolutely no idea how I was going to pay next month's rent. My nights were sleepless. I'd just stare at the ceiling, my mind racing, doing that painful math over and over, trying to stretch pennies that just weren't there. Today, my bank account looks totally different. But look, I'm not here to sell you a fantasy. I'm not going to tell you about some magic button or a secret algorithm you can unlock. I'm here to tell you the ugly truth, the unfiltered story about the grueling work, the intense sacrifices that nearly broke me, and the exact, repeatable strategies I used to go from completely broke to having over $100,000 in the bank in just 12 months. So, stick around, because I'm not holding anything back. I'm laying it all out, the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly. Part 1. The broke reality. To really get this journey, you have to understand where I started. And for me, that was rock bottom. Broke wasn't just a number in my bank account, it was a feeling that seeped into every corner of my life. It was this physical weight on my shoulders, a constant, dull dread in the pit of my stomach. So what did broke actually look like? It looked like my tiny, cramped apartment with peeling paint and a landlord who only knew my name because my rent was late. It looked like my beat-up car, a car that made a new, terrifying noise every single week. I'd sit at a red light, just praying the engine wouldn't give up right there. Every cough and sputter felt like a personal failure. And what did it feel like? It felt like shame. The hot flush of embarrassment when my card got declined at the grocery store for a $15 purchase. The panic of seeing a number I didn't recognize pop up on my phone, knowing it was probably another bill collector. I got real good at avoiding things. Avoiding calls, avoiding invites from friends I couldn't afford, and especially avoiding my own bank account balance because the truth was just too painful. My diet? A sad rotation of instant noodles, rice and beans, and whatever was on super sale that week. I remember one month eating peanut butter sandwiches for dinner for 2 weeks straight. Not because I loved them, but because a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter was the cheapest way to feel full. That's not a cute story, that was my survival strategy. The emotional toll was the worst part, though. Being broke is mentally exhausting. It consumes your thoughts, making it impossible to focus on anything else. You're in this constant state of fight or flight over bills and basic needs. It just eats away at your self-worth, making you feel small and incapable. You start to believe this is all you deserve. You see other people living their lives, going on vacation, buying houses, and it feels like they're in a different universe. You feel trapped, watching the world move forward without you. It's a lonely, isolating place to be, and I lived there for a long, long time. Part 2. The turning point. Every huge transformation starts with a single moment of clarity. A point where the pain of staying the same is finally worse than the fear of change. For me, that moment wasn't some glamorous, movie-style epiphany. It was a cold, quiet Tuesday night. I was sitting in my car after my shift, engine off, the silence just ringing in my ears. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my younger sister. A picture of her and her fiancé, beaming, holding up a set of keys. They just bought their first house. A small, modest place, but it was theirs. And seeing their joy, their progress, something inside me just snapped. It wasn't jealousy. It was this soul-crushing wave of self-awareness. Here was my little sister, 5 years younger than me, building a life, while I was literally sitting in a broken-down car, scared to go home to an apartment I could barely afford. The contrast was so brutal I couldn't ignore it anymore. I realized my situation wasn't just happening to me. It was a result of my choices, my inaction, my mindset. I'd been waiting for a promotion, for the economy to get better, for someone to come and rescue me. In that painful moment, I understood nobody was coming. The cavalry wasn't on its way. If I wanted a different life, I had to be the one to build it. I had to rescue myself. That night, I went home, and instead of turning on the TV to distract myself, I pulled out a notebook. At the top of a blank page, I wrote, $100,000 in 12 months. It looked insane. It felt impossible. But for the first time, the alternative, another year of living like this, felt even more impossible. That was the night the waiting ended and the work began. Part 3. The Unfiltered Strategies. That decision was the spark, but a spark without fuel dies fast. My fuel became a relentless obsession with a simple, 3-part system. Radically increase your income, ruthlessly control your spending, and intelligently invest the difference. Most people fail because they only do one of these. They try to save their way to wealth on a tiny salary, or they make a ton of money but let it all slip away. The real magic happens when you stack these 3 things together. Strategy 1. Building the income engine. The math was simple and terrifying. To bank $100,000 in a year, I needed to put away over $8,300 every single month. My day job wasn't going to cut it. I needed a new income engine, and the fastest vehicle I found was building a service-based business. I didn't have money to start some complex company, but I had skills, or more accurately, I could learn skills. The world is full of businesses desperate for help with things like social media, website optimization, SEO, or running ads. I noticed a huge demand for digital marketing, especially for local businesses that were great at their jobs but terrible at getting noticed online. So I picked one: search engine optimization. I went all in. Every hour outside my day job was spent learning. I became an SEO sponge. And I didn't just learn the theory, I practiced. I built a simple website for a fake company and ranked it on Google myself, just to prove I could do it. Then the hard part: getting that first client. This is where most people quit. I didn't have a fancy portfolio, but I had hustle. I made a list of 100 local businesses in my city, plumbers, dentists, roofers, whose websites were buried on page 10 of Google. I didn't just email them, I walked into their offices. I made them an offer they couldn't refuse: let me work for you, for free, for 30 days. If I don't improve your Google ranking and get you more calls, you don't pay me a dime. If I do, you hire me. The first 20 businesses said no. But number 21, a local roofer, said yes. For the next 30 days, I was obsessed. I rebuilt his site, optimized every page, and built links. I poured everything I knew into his business. And it worked. His phone started ringing more. At the end of the month, he happily signed a contract for $1,000 a month. That was my proof of concept. The real key, though, was the subscription model. I wasn't selling one-off projects. I was selling ongoing retainers for recurring revenue. One client at $1,000 a month was a start. The next month, I landed 2 more with the same strategy. Suddenly, I was making $3,000 a month on the side. By month 6, I had 8 clients, was making $8,000 a month from my business alone, and I quit my day job to go all in. Strategy 2. The ruthless budget and financial discipline. Making more money is useless if you don't keep it. It's the biggest lie we're told, that a high income automatically makes you rich. I've seen people making 6 figures who are living paycheck to paycheck because of lifestyle creep, where your spending just magically rises to meet your new income. I was determined not to fall into that trap. I decided to live like I was still broke, even as my income grew. I created what I called a ruthless budget. Every single dollar had a job before the month began. This isn't about deprivation, it's about control. I tracked every penny on a simple spreadsheet. I canceled every subscription I didn't absolutely need: Netflix, Spotify, the gym membership I barely used. I stopped eating out, period. I cooked all my meals and packed my lunch every day. I stopped buying new clothes or gadgets. When my friends asked me to go out, I had to learn that hard but powerful word: no. This was the ugly part. It wasn't fun, but seeing my savings account climb was more satisfying than any restaurant meal. As my income grew, my life didn't. I didn't get a nicer apartment or a new car. I kept my expenses at rock bottom. This created a huge gap between what I was earning and what I was spending. That gap, that surplus, is the seed of wealth. I put that surplus to work immediately. I opened a high-yield savings account for my emergency fund and a low-cost index fund account for long-term investments. Every month, after my bare-bones expenses were paid, thousands of dollars were automatically transferred into these accounts. Automation is your best friend here because it takes emotion out of the equation. This two-pronged attack, high income and extreme frugality, was like pouring gasoline on a fire. Strategy 3. The growth lever, stacking skills and authority. The service business was my cash cow, but I knew that trading time for money has a ceiling. To really speed things up, I had to build a growth lever by stacking my skills and building authority. That's where content creation came in. I started a YouTube channel, not to get famous, but for a very strategic reason: to attract clients. Instead of cold calling, I started making videos answering the exact questions my potential clients were Googling. How to improve SEO for plumbers. 5 website mistakes dentists make. Local SEO for roofers. My first videos were awful. Bad lighting, echoey sound, and I was visibly nervous. But I was providing real value. Business owners started finding my videos. They'd watch, learn something, and see that I knew what I was talking about. At the end of each video, I had a simple call to action. If you're a business owner and want help with this, there's a link in the description to book a free consultation. Slowly but surely, the dynamic shifted. Instead of me chasing clients, they started coming to me. They were pre-sold. They already knew me and trusted my expertise because I'd given them value up front. This allowed me to raise my prices. I was no longer the guy begging for a chance. I was the expert they were seeking out. You don't need a huge audience for this to work. With just a few hundred subscribers, I was getting high-quality leads every single week, which just kept accelerating my journey to that $100,000 goal. Part 4. The sacrifices and the ugly truth. Now, we need to talk about the part that gets glossed over in most success stories. The price. Not the financial one, but the personal one. The title of this is The Ugly Truth. And the ugly truth is this was one of the hardest and loneliest years of my life. This journey demanded a level of sacrifice I just wasn't ready for. For 12 months, I had no social life. While my friends were going to bars, on dates, on weekend trips, I was at home, in front of my computer, working. I missed birthdays, parties, even weddings. I basically became a ghost. My relationships suffered. Friendships that weren't rock solid just withered away. People stopped calling because they knew my answer would always be, "I can't, I have to work." I'm sure some of them thought I was arrogant or that I'd changed. And you know what? They were right. I had changed. I was obsessed. That goal consumed me. My health took a huge hit. I was running on 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, fueled by caffeine and pure adrenaline. I'd work my 9 to 5, come home, and then work on my business until 2 or 3 in the morning. Single. My diet was bad, I stopped exercising, and the stress was crushing. There were days I was so burnt out I'd just stare at my screen, completely drained, unable to type another word. I asked myself if it was worth it more times than I can count. This is the non-negotiable cost of compressing a decade of financial progress into 1 year. You aren't just giving up little luxuries, you're trading time, relationships, and your own well-being for financial velocity. And then one day, in month 11, it happened. I logged into my bank account, and I looked at the combined total of my checking, savings, and investment accounts. And there it was. $100,241. The feeling wasn't what I expected. It wasn't some explosion of joy. It was quieter. It was this deep, profound sense of relief. It felt like I'd been holding my breath for a year, and I could finally exhale. The constant, crushing weight of financial anxiety that had been my shadow for so long was just gone. The first thing I did? I paid my rent 3 months in advance. Not because I had to, but because I could. Then I booked a flight to see my sister and her fiancé, and I bought them the most ridiculously expensive bottle of champagne I could find. So what's really changed? It isn't about buying fancy things. I still drive a modest car and live in a simple apartment. The real change is the absence of fear. I no longer live in fear of a surprise medical bill, an unexpected car repair, or losing my job. That mental space that used to be occupied by constant worry is now free. It's been replaced with peace and a sense of possibility. Money didn't solve all my problems. It didn't magically make me a better person, but it gave me something priceless: options. The freedom to choose. The freedom to say no to projects I don't believe in. The freedom to take a day off without panicking. The freedom to invest in my health, rebuild the relationships I neglected, and design a life based on my values, not my bank balance. The $100,000 was the goal, but the true prize was the security, the freedom, and the unshakable self-belief I forged in the fire of that unbelievably difficult year. Looking back, the formula was simple, but that doesn't mean it was easy. It was about building a high-income skill, practicing ruthless financial discipline, and strategically reinvesting every spare dollar. It was about choosing long-term freedom over short-term fun every single day for a year. This journey taught me that our financial situation is rarely about luck. It's a direct result of our strategies, our habits, and our discipline. It's not some Wall Street secret, it's about taking radical ownership of your life. My journey started with one decision on a Tuesday night: to stop waiting and start building. If you're feeling stuck like I was, just know that you have the power to change your reality. It will be hard, it will demand sacrifice, but it is absolutely possible. If you found this breakdown valuable and you want more real, no-fluff strategies on building wealth, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Wealth Saga channel. I'll be breaking down each of these methods in even more detail in upcoming videos. Let me know in the comments which part of this resonates most with you. And as a thank you for watching, I've put together a free guide that outlines the exact ruthless budget template I used to get my finances under control. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and remember, your new life is waiting for you to build it.